Hello and welcome to a very special episode of The Buck Stops Here. I'm Vishnu Shom and I'm coming today from what's been called the Mecca of Indian badminton, the Pulela Gopichand Badminton Academy in Hyderabad. It's here that Kidambi Srikanth and a host of top Indian players, men and women, have been training for years. What makes this academy run and how is it that India is producing so many world-class badminton talents? It was about 8 years back when I had the opportunity of interviewing Pulela Gopichand for the very first time. It was then that he was really setting up his academy over here in Hyderabad, and it was a real struggle for him. It was a time when he had to mortgage his own home to help fund this academy. This academy now is world-beating. It is the Mecca of Indian badminton. I'm very privileged to interview Gopi once again. Thanks very much, and it's super to be here. When we spoke last time, you're just about starting it up, but now it's achieved so much. We'll talk about the academy in a bit. Would you say the last month and a half has been the finest period for men's badminton in India's history?
Definitely. I think the kind of players we've had and multiple players doing well at the highest level is something amazing. I think I would definitely say this is really the best time.
And let's talk about Kidambi Srikanth, his performance, the fact that it's 2 Super Series wins and the fact that he's taken out the best players in the world in doing this. I mean, it's the ability to take on the best, the toughest talents that is it is as important as winning tournaments itself, right?
Yeah, I think not only the fact that he won, but the way he did it and the players whom he beat doing it. I think that's what makes both these events so special, because the Indonesian Open had 29 of the top 30 players in the world. So it's almost like it could have been the World Championships. The Olympics is in fact in a way a less stronger field because of restricted entries. But I think this could be as big as it gets in those terms. And also Australia, he beat the world #1. He beat Chen Long, who was an Olympic champion. So it's something which is fantastic.
For so long, we've seen Indian sportspersons failing mental strength across disciplines when we have so much to offer physically in terms of technique and other things. Are we overcoming that? In badminton, are we producing players who are mentally strong enough to consistently beat the best in the world?
Yes, I think we've had the women doing well. We had Saina and Sindhu, and then and now with earlier it used to be Kashyap or maybe Guru, and then Ajay Jairam, then Srikanth for a while, Pranoy. So it's basically each one starting to push the other. But the fact is that we in the world of badminton are, if anything, considered physically on the stronger side compared to many other countries in the world. So I think it's because of the kind of work ethic which has helped us develop the physical aspect over the years. And once you are physically so good and you put in many hours of training both on court and off court and in the gym, I think that's when you start feeling that mentally as well. So that's the reason why we are seeing these results, what we are seeing.
World Championships coming up. Are we strong contenders at winning? That doesn't just necessarily mean Srikanth. He's very much the buzz now. But you've got other players who are right up there.
Yeah, I think the last 3 Super Series we've had our players winning. Sai has done well, Pranoy has done well. He beat a world #1, he beat Lee Chong-wei, he beat Chen Long. So it's definitely, I think all of these players have a good chance of making it, and we have 4 entries going into the World Championships in the men's singles itself. And I believe that on their day, these players are good enough to beat anybody else in the world, and hopefully we will have them progress to the later parts of the tournament.
So just in terms of summarizing this year, it's in total 4 of 6 Super Series that have been won by Indian players, men and women, and 3 of 6 by men, right? So it's fabulous by any standard, because the Chinese haven't won obviously more than us this year, neither have the Malaysians, neither have the Indonesians, neither have the Danish. It's incredible. Did you ever think a year like this would happen? And all these players train over here.
Well, I would be honest, I think it's a pleasant surprise. Yeah, I always and I still think that there's a lot more we can do, and if done correctly, we could really rule the world of badminton. We're still years away from that.
We can be consistently better than the Chinese in this sport?
If we do our act correctly, I believe we can be much more superior than anybody else in the world.
Why do you believe that?
I think the results speak for themselves. We've had great results, but also it's only hardly anything which we have done really, and if we actually do our act of coaching well, our act of aligning the system properly, produce more coaches from internal ourselves, I believe we as Indians are born for badminton, and that's what I believe, and that's why I think we can have a chance to be really good at the world level.
Gopi, you like to downplay things because that's your personality, and that's not going to change. But the fact of the matter is, all of these players over here owe their success almost entirely to you. You'll say parents, this, that and the other, of course. But you play 4-5 hours a day now. You're what, 43, right? And that's incredible. Your personal passion for the sport extends to actually being out on the court and matching these players, and you still do that stroke for stroke. That must take an immense toll on you because you do it day after day, year after year.
Yeah, it is, and it's like 2004 when I retired and started coaching, and it's been so many years now, and so many players, and in a way, if it was 1 or 2 players, then you could work 2 hours, 3 hours, but with the numbers growing, I had to grow myself and would spend about 8 to 10 hours on court. But I'm not getting any younger, and it's time we need more support because we have so many quality players, and that's where I think it's important that we build a system around it, because it's time these players need individual attention, these players need more support because we have so many of them now, and hopefully we'll be able to do that.
And you're here, what, at 4 in the morning, every morning, virtually every morning?
Yeah.
So what's the schedule for you and these players?
I think luckily for the last 3 months, we've had a stronger coaching staff. We've had Mulyo come in from Indonesia, and 2 other coaches from Indonesia. And also we have, we were lucky that 2 of my Indian coaches who were players when I was playing, both of them, Siddharth and Amrish, were here. So it just took a lot of load off me. So I start today maybe around 5 o'clock, but for the last 13 years I would do it more at 4:15 in the morning. It was crazy the amount of work. So 4:15 we would stop training at around 12:30, and then I would finish some office work and then spend a couple of hours again on court in the evening from 4 to 6.
Your mum handles the administration of your academy. That must be an incredible load off your back, because if you're putting in that many hours and actually playing the sport, somebody needs to run it. And you've got lots of these young talents who live over here as well. Somebody needs to look after the administration of it.
Yeah. I'm very fortunate because my parents have not only helped me when I was playing, but my mom and dad actually still helping me, and the administration is something which is very critical, and if I were to get involved in the admin part of it, I would probably not be able to focus so much on the coaching bit. So I've been very lucky, I would say, that that part has always been taken care of, and I've always had great support from my parents. My wife, she herself being an Olympian, I think she understands the fact that sport needs this kind of dedication. So they've never asked for anything, and they've always taken care of my comforts very well.
So your wife's an Olympian, you're an All England champion, you're the guru of coaching in badminton in India, and now you've got kids, both of them, your daughter and your son, who in their own right are coming up along. I mean, badminton is it for your family, right?
Yes, I think for me, still there's no other hobby other than badminton. There's no other fun activity.
But did you put pressure on your kids to play badminton? I'm sure you did. Come on.
In a way, what used to happen was they used to get up and I was already gone. and by the time I would come, they would be sleeping. So
Yeah.
it was my greed to see them probably that made them start to play the sport,
Right.
because if not, I would have not seen the young in the young ages. So for me, I have gained so much from badminton, and I've loved the entire life of mine, and I believe it's a great life to have. So yes, I might be greedy in wanting that for my kids, because for me, I think the sport is given so much, but no matter what it in the material side or something is another part, but just the fact of you being able to play is something amazing.
You know, in spending a few hours over here, I noticed that unlike our superstar cricketers or international tennis players, the bunch of players over here, and you've got a couple of champions just practicing behind us, it's one very tight-knit sort of family kind of environment. There's no big show involved in this process, in this business of training or anything. There are no real superstars in the way they behave. Is that what you encourage, a certain culture in your training and in this academy?
See, they've all, whether it's Pranoy, Kashyap,
Because they've achieved so
Srikanth.
much, but none of them behave like superstars.
Yeah,
They
they've
seem to
lived-
be really good human beings.
See, they've spent, somebody spent 10 years here, somebody spent 15 years here. So it's basically,
Home.
yeah, they all feel it's home, and sport is cruel in the sense, they all understand that in the sense, you cannot have that mentality in training because it's very important. Maybe for the outside world, maybe players can have that, but I think in training, I think you have to put your head down and work, because if you don't do that, then your going down process is very quick.
You were telling me about distractions, which weren't the case when you were playing. There's WhatsApp, Twitter, all sorts, Facebook, all sorts of social media. These are young players from another generation, and they will get on Twitter even if you may not like it. You aren't on Twitter, right?
I'm not.
And you have what, one phone with WhatsApp that you don't even look at. He's very bad on WhatsApp. Anybody trying to reach out to him. Is that something that concerns you also, that there are distractions outside?
Yes, yes. I think every generation, I think, had their own set of distractions, and this generation has the social media and the connect becoming a lot, whether it's the Facebooks, WhatsApp, Twitters or Instagram. So I think there's a lot of interest to see who's following what, and how many likes, how many photographs, updates, those kind of things. And yeah, it's important to actually get a balance in, and at least you restrict the amount of time you have, so that you have the peace of mind which is needed, because at the end of the day, sport is about training well, eating well and sleeping well. Yeah. And all these things, three things are important. So if your time in social media actually stops you from training well, eating well or sleeping well, I think it's a distraction.